Hey guys, it's Penta here. Welcome back to another episode of Let Me Analyze You. This episode will be number 4, and today we'll be looking at how you should play out the game because of your composition or because of the enemy's composition. So we'll take a dive straight into the game, and we can see already that the blue team here, which is the team we're analyzing, has 2 mages, which means there's a lot of area of effect damage and a lot of late game power. The enemy team has 3 melee characters, so we have Sonya, Thrall, and Muradin. So this is a very brawler type of composition where you don't require much mana, and it's very centered around the early game because you can gain a lot of presence and deal a lot of damage in that early game to snowball your lead. So based on those facts, the way that this game should be played out is that the blue team should be trying to drag out the game as long as possible, where they have more defensive talents such as Uther Cleanse and Divine Shield, Jaina's Ice Block, and Kel'Thas's Arcane Barrier. So overall they should be playing not to lose rather than trying to play to win. So maybe a little bit of pre-game talk before the gates open would really help in certain games so that you're all on the same page. So our stars for today are Shying on Uther and Quirky Turtle and Jaina, and they both are returning to the game from a long break and would like some feedback. As I said earlier, the comp needs to be played slowly, and we can see Uther here make a very aggressive play, and he puts himself in range of their melee assassins and instantly gets blown up. We then see Quirky Turtle come from the side and drop his rotation of abilities. If we slow it down here, we can see he separates himself from the tanks here without having any abilities up, and is therefore very vulnerable and is an easy target for that Thrall there. You generally want to be kiting with Jaina and using the tanks as your meat shield as you wait for your abilities to come up. So you can see how back and forth these fights are as everyone dukes it out and tries to delay for the respawn timers. And now here we're at a point where the blue team is looking quite healthy and has all 5 of their members up, so they did a good job at not trying to stagger their deaths and making sure all 5 members are up when they fight. So the fight goes down. We can eventually visibly see that the blue team comes out on top, but because of such low respawn timers in the early game, the blue team doesn't actually have enough time to kill 40 of these goblins. And if we look back at their spawn, we can see that the Sonya and Falstad, which just died, are back up again. The red team is able to reassemble and do exactly what the blue team did, and they're able to push on and shove them off this point. So what can we get out of what we just saw? Well, because of red team's early game comp, they're able to win these early game skirmishes, so therefore it's better to just play it slow and try not to overextend into the shrine so you don't lose as much experience as you would trying to contest it because of the deaths, and so that you have enough players to quickly take down the Punisher and minimize the potential experience your enemies could be gaining from killing you and taking structures. Jaina is a very high risk, high reward hero in that if you put yourself in a very dangerous spot, you can deal crazy amounts of damage. But here we can see her put herself in a dangerous spot, and she doesn't get that much value from that Ring of Frost. Because the Lily is keeping her team up with the Jugs, she actually gets nothing out of it, and half of her team is occupied on actually taking out that Punisher. And because of that play, there are now 3 less heroes to assist in clearing the Punisher, which then helps the enemy snowball further. Remember that you are playing not to lose here, not trying to make plays. So we advance to the late game where the blue team's composition starts to shine, and we can see that they're behind 3 levels. When behind in levels, you always want to make sure you aren't fighting when you're behind in a talent tier as well, which is currently true in this case because blue haven't hit level 16 yet. So we can see them waiting around here for a little while for level 16, which is good that they do that. But when they hit level 16, they wait around a little too much without gaining any vision, which gives the enemy a decent amount of time to get in a good position for that upcoming fight. If we pause here now, we can see how split up the blue team is, and even though this fight may look very promising, we see Lily over the wall pop her heroic, and the blue team has nothing to stop it. Now generally when playing against melee comps without area effect damage, you want to clump up so that it becomes easy to land your AoE damage since you have double mage. So in order for the melee assassins on their team to get to you, they need to right click you, which puts them in a very small area, and they're very vulnerable to area of effect damage. But Jaina runs downwards here and splits from Kale instead of running up with him, making them both vulnerable targets since they don't have each other to back up. And now if we play out the rest of the clip, we can see how difficult it is for Jaina to throw out her damage without getting chased, and therefore falls. Fortunately though, the enemy team overextends here instead of finishing off the goblins to take the Punisher, and end up getting wiped by the blue team, and they're able to come out on top of that. As we take a look at our final team fight, we can see an established line here set up by the blue team, except that Uther is in Diablo's place and Diablo is where Uther should be. As the team fight plays out, we can see here Uther has to use Divine Shield on himself and therefore can't save Diablo, and they both fall. But the enemy makes the same mistake again and overextends instead of finishing off the shrine, and Uther and Diablo both resurrect again into the fight, and the blue team manages to win the Punisher, which carries them to victory. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let Me Analyze You. Make sure you send me your replays and make sure you like, share and subscribe.